Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. So it's Sunday, as you've seen in the video, the last video. This thing fucking fired right up after changing the coils in the ICM. So there is no fluid in the trans, so I need to definitely add some fluid. Did not think of that. I need to pull this jumper wire off of the starter solenoid. I need to get the wideband wired in and actually get all the gauges wired in. I need to hook up the boost gauge. Like, I just need to get a bunch of little stuff done on this thing. Over in the other storage, I have a whole nother wiper assembly because they have a lot of play in them. And whenever they sit all the way down like this, whenever I go to shut the hood likes to hit on them. And so I have another set off of that silver parts car that came with all the 5-speed stuff. And there was nothing wrong with them. They had no play. So I took the whole assembly. And so I need to get that swapped around before I put the hood on. So I just got a lot of little stuff that I need to finalize and get everything figured out. I still need to bleed the clutch, so I've got a couple different tricks I've been told to try out. So, but man, I'm so excited. I still can't believe this baby fired up. And so a couple people commented and asked if I got the door open. Yes, I did. I went ahead and rolled the window down. So, but yeah, I'm super stoked. But yeah, I just need to get a bunch of this stuff finalized in here, tuck this wire. I'm probably going to run this up here like I did in the 07 Pre. But yeah, I need to get this all wired up, get all my boost gauge and this volt gauge. I like these glow shift gauges. They look nice. So, yeah, I just need to get all this stuff wired up. Gage told me to run the power for the gauges off of the sunroof fuse over in the fuse box on that side. So, but yeah, there's still just a lot of little stuff that needs to get done. So that's what my main focus is today, is just trying to get all this little stuff done, get the trans filled up with fluid. So, yeah, I'm going to quit rambling on and get the truck opened up and get some tools and get some supplies out of there and get to work on this thing. So y'all stay tuned and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so this is what I'm going to be using. I messaged Terrell. Well, actually, Terrell commented on the first start video. And I was like, hey, actually, I have a question because you're running the F23. What fluid did you use? And he said use the Dex 3 automatic transmission fluid. So I bought this for the 06 and I topped it off, and I still have exactly 3 quarts. And that's exactly what Terrell said I needed, was 3 quarts. So I'm going to use this nice bendy funnel. I've got to get that red cap off down there under the crossover pipe and get the transmission filled up with this fluid. And then that way the transmission will at least have fluid in it. I can see if there are any leaks coming from anywhere and see if there's any seals that need to be replaced or not. And I mean, this is all trial and error right now. So I just topped off the washer fluid and it decided it wanted to start dumping out. So I gotta have a leak, either a crack in this tank somewhere or something. But that kind of sucks. But so see, it's all trial and error. So at least now I know I need another tank reservoir. And then I still have to bleed the clutch, so that's going to be coming up. But I want to go ahead and get this fluid in the transmission, so that way I know it's full and I don't have to worry about causing any damage. I did not think about that last night whenever I wanted to put it in gear and try to start it. That's probably what all that rattling was. So not good for the trans. I didn't think about it. I'm a dumbass. If it fucks it up, I'll get another one. At least I have another transmission over in the other storage. It's just not the right bell housing, but all the gears and internals of it are fine. So at least I know I have backup parts if I need it. But yeah, so I'm gonna quit rambling on and get this transmission topped off with this automatic transmission fluid and keep on working. I'll give y'all another update. Alright, y'all, so I've got my funnel set up. I've got it snaked down there. I had to use the channel locks to get the cap off, but I got my funnel in there, so I'm about to just pop this off. I'm gonna dump this whole 3 quarts down in there and try not to let it overflow and make a mess everywhere. And I'll give you guys another update once it's full. Alright, you guys, so I've got the gauge pod pulled out. As you can see, I've got all my gauges in here still. So these are the 2 harnesses that came with this gauge, and it's supposed to work for the newer style, what, L9 or whatever sensor. So it's this newer style plug with this. So even though the other plug harness that I bought brand new for the 07, this one, it's also for the 4110, the newer style wideband sensor. It's like the exact same plugs, but I just don't want to have any issues, so I'm just using what came with the new gauge. And the only thing was, like, this kit specifically that they sent me is so you can source your own newer style sensor. So as long as it is a newer style sensor with this plug, it should work with this setup. But they have built into the sensor in here where this little 4-wire little prong goes right here with this red, black, white, and blue. So it has a resistor built into it in there for the power function, and that's why I was having issues on the 07 Grand Prix, to where when I powered it on, it would power on, and then the reading would just go all the way over here and max out, and then it would just read dash, dash, dash. And so that's what was so frustrating with the 07. And at first I thought it was just because I was using the older style sensor and it was maybe a newer style gauge. So I bought a whole nother one of these harnesses and a whole nother sensor, which is the sensor that's on here now, and it did the exact same thing. And then when I tried to pull the gauge out of the pod, it just broke into pieces, and then I found out it was melted. So I tried to be cheap and save money on it, and ended up costing me even more money. And then after I gave up and parted out the 07, I just bought this harness, and it was $100. This gauge with the harness and everything. So, and then it'll source your own sensor. And since I already had bought a sensor, I was like, fuck it, I'll use that for the Grand Am. So, but I just want to show I've got this all out. I am wiring everything up. I've got the wideband, everything's plugged in, it's running down. And then I've got the power for my voltage gauge and the boost gauge wired in together. And so this wire is going to run down here to where this power wire meets. And I'm just going to pretty much extend these right down here with this and hook these up to power and ground. And then the blue wire will run across the dashboard underneath and go into the passenger side fuse box. And it will be spliced in to the sunroof fuse, is what Gage told me to do. So, oh dang. It's kind of hard to get off there without the door being open all the way. Oh man. Alright, well I have to get that side panel off. But yeah, I need to run that wire down back behind here, tucked it all up underneath the dash and everything, and run into that fuse box. And I'll just tap the power into the sunroof fuse, so that way when the key turns on, that gives the sunroof and everything power. And it's on its own circuit, evidently, so as long as I'm not actively opening and closing the sunroof, then it shouldn't have any other power off of that fuse. So that works good for me. That's how Gage told me to run it, so that's how I'm going to run everything. And yeah, I just want to give y'all an update, show y'all the process, and so I'm going to keep working on this thing, get all this wiring finalized. I'll get this put back up into place, and then for my ground, I'll probably just put a self-tapper down here just like I did in the 07. I just pulled this plastic piece back and put a self-tapper back in here. So I might be able to put one like back up there. See, I only need the plug to go to here. So No worries. I'm going to get this thing all situated and hooked up, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys. So I've been working on this thing. I've got my wires all ran and taped up, going all the way down. And then they meet right here. So this is where I tapped in the power of the wideband into this power and ground wire. So I've got my power in here. So when I touch the ground, which will be as soon as the ignition kicks on, all three gauges pop up. It doesn't max out. So everything's looking great. So everything's working properly there on the gauges. So now all I have to do is kind of stick this back in place, run my wires all the way down. I'm going to have to tuck everything back behind here. Probably have to pull this weather stripping seal out so I can run those wires back behind this fuse box and run them down underneath. And then I'll probably have to zip tie up the rest of the main big harness that plugs into the wideband sensor. Just like zip tie it up here somewhere. And then I'll have to run all the other lines back here behind the carpet, put my ground in somewhere. And I'm also going to have to tuck all this and try to get this all tucked back here and ran up there onto the top of the dash. But man, it's really coming along. That's great progress there, especially with that wideband sensor or wideband gauge. That's already way better than how my last one was. See, if I would have known that it was supposed to stay at your air fuel when you just hook it up with no sensor at all, like, shit, that's cool. I at least I would have known that it was just a bad gauge. So now I know from learning from experience. At least now I know. Well, it looks like my speaker's broke. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that speaker's trash. Can y'all see that? Look at that. Holy shit. Well, that speaker's trash. So I'm going to have to pop that out. Try to get one of these others. Or I might just go buy another set of 6x9s. Just replace the 6x9s. But yeah, I made a lot of good progress on this gauge pod today. So I'm going to keep working on it. Try to see where all my wires are going to go. I still need to get some boost line and put some line on there before I fully install this. Because once it's installed, I'm not going to be able to get anything on there. So I want to go ahead and find something and install on there so I can start running that and get it hooked up into the map sensor vacuum line, because it needs to tee in to this vacuum line similar to how this fuel pressure regulator is teed in. So I just got to figure something out to tee into that line, because that's the line it needs to be hooked up to. I did find this little thing on eBay. I'll put a screenshot in it here. But it's a little vacuum port hub with like 6 or 8 ports on it. And it's like $20, less than $20. So I'm probably thinking about ordering that, and I can just like bolt it up here to the firewall and then just run my vacuum source into it. And then I can run a vacuum line from that hub to the map, one to the fuel pressure regulator, and then, you know, down around to the lower intake, and then up here to the front to the boost pressure solenoid. So, I mean, yeah, I'm thinking that's probably going to be the best way to go for that thing, for that, you know, situation there. And that will kind of help sort everything out. So, probably going to get that ordered here this week whenever I get paid, because I'm broke right now. But man, I'm super excited. I'm so happy this thing fired up. So, I'm going to keep working on this boost gauge and this pillar pod, and trying to get this fully installed and get everything hooked up. And I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, y'all. So I've been working on the Grand Am for a good hour and a half or so. I just got the battery hooked back up. It's been on the charger, but I had the ground disconnected with just this little fucking piece, battery terminal bolt in there to connect the charger. But so what I did was I ran my wire down here, and I ran it all the way across the bottom. I still need to like zip tie it up and tuck it. And then I went over to the passenger side and I ran it right there. I know it's kind of ghetto like this, but I ran it through the glove box so it holds it up, and over into the sunroof fuse. So that sunroof fuse is the very bottom. It is a 20 amp fuse. So I just hooked the battery back up. I want to see if we have gauges. Up. There we go. All our gauges are working, sitting at about 13 volts. Nice. So we have wideband, we have boost gauge, and volt gauge. Sweet. So now the only thing that's left is my boost line, which I did leave a little piece sticking out. So it's going to be coming out right down to here with all these wires and everything. So all I have to do is just pull back this weather stripping and I can tee in my boost line to the boost gauge. Other than that, everything else is wired and working. So that's fucking awesome. That is epic. So making some major progress today. One more thing I need to do is I do need to swap out this dash cluster with this one. This one is like 176,000 miles or something like that. It's pretty low miles. So I want to swap this one out with this one that's in the car now. This is the one that came in the car. And as y'all seen, it's 257,000 miles on this baby. So, but I'm excited. I've got gauges wired, radios wired, subs are wired. The car starts with the key. Like, it's getting really close. So I'm going to keep working on this thing because there's still a lot of stuff I got to get done. I need to finish hooking up all of my intercooler hoses. Like I have them ran up here in my fill neck and they run down underneath. But if you get down here and look, they're not all hooked up. I don't have the pump in here. I do have that one hose like loops way around and goes up on there, but there's not a clamp on it yet. So that's probably not going to work for me. I really don't like how that's set up. So next thing is just going to be using all this hose, kind of getting everything situated and hooked up to the heat exchanger and get the pump in there and get it bolted down and get it hooked up. And then I brought another alternator. Yeah, sitting right here. So just in case it happens to be that this alternator is no good, then I do have another alternator. It doesn't look as nice and as pretty as this one. This one's pretty close to being brand new. And this was actually the alternator that was on this car whenever it had the 3.4 engine in it. And this was a damn near brand new alternator. That's why I wanted to keep it, because it was almost a brand new alternator. So yeah, it should not be a problem with the alternator, but just in case it is the alternator, I have another one. I have a couple more back there on the back shelf. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, I've got plenty of alternators. I think I even have the one off the 07 in the trunk of the 07 Pre. So, I mean, if I definitely really need another one, I have plenty to go around. But yeah, I think that's the next step I'm going to work on, is trying to get all this intercooler hose plumbed and hooked up to the heat exchanger and to the pump. And just try to get everything done and finalized. And get the intercooler system full of some coolant. I got 2 gallons of coolant in the back of the truck there. And just try to keep making progress on this thing. So y'all stay tuned, and I will definitely keep you guys updated as I make some more progress. Alright, you guys. So I've been working on this thing for a little bit. And so I started getting my intercooler hoses. I had to swap them around because I had the shorter one going all the way down and I needed the longer one going all the way down. So this one over here on the left side of the snout It just goes under the coolant reservoir, snakes down right through here. Let me get down here. Okay. So it snakes down right through here, comes around and goes into the bottom side of the dual pass heat exchanger. And then this is my other hose that goes into the fill neck. So it's going to come down here. And actually, I think I have that backwards. I want this one to go into the pump, because the one on the fill neck, it pumps it up. Damn, I think I did that backwards. Let's see. It's hard to tell. So the bottom hose. Oh, let me get back up. So the bottom hose there, it goes in the fill neck. Dang it. Okay. Yeah, I need to reverse that again. I put the wrong hose on the heat exchanger. But so pretty much the hose that's going from the fill neck needs to go down onto the heat exchanger. And then the other hose, this hose here, this bottom one, that needs to go onto the pump. So that way, because whenever on the 07, whenever I had the pump hooked up to the fill neck, it was pumping up, and it was always wanting to make it overflow. So if I push it up through this one, let it circulate, and then come back to the fill neck, and it goes down. And so that's the way that I want to run it in the Grand Am. So I just gotta keep working on this. I don't know how I'm supposed to secure this up here. I had it zip tied up through one of those holes, but it doesn't really seem to hold it that great. And it kind of puts some strain on the hoses over here, but nothing is touching either one of the belts. There's plenty of clearance there. So I just had to run this zip tie. It's kind of ghetto, but it holds it out of the way. Same way I had it ran on the 07. So, but I'm going to keep working on this and try to get this intercooler pump all bolted up down there and get it mounted and start getting the hoses hooked up to these two fittings. I don't think it matters which one goes which, whether it's in or out. It doesn't. Oh, yeah, it does out. So it needs to come in here and then pump it from there up here. So I'll get it mounted and start getting everything underneath all plumbed. And then it will just be the wiring to actually kick it on, which I'll have to do it similar as I did on the 07. But it's going to be a little bit different because the fuse box is way over there and not right here. So going to have to definitely extend some wires to make it all work. But we can definitely make it happen. So I'm going to keep working on this and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all. I just want to get a little video clip of this thing starting with the key. Oh. Oh, I fucking love it. Oh, she stalled out. Oh man, I love it though. Need to finish hooking up the boost gauge. It looks like it's a little bit off, but I guess we'll find out. But man, I just cannot get enough of this car. I just can't get enough of it. Alright, y'all, I'm going to keep working on this intercooler setup, and I'll give y'all another update. Alright, you guys, so I've pretty much got the intercooler system all plumbed, and I've got my pump hooked up down here. I do have a small leak from this fitting here, so I'm going to have to end up draining it just so I can fix this leak. But I did hook up, I wired up these little wires with these little terminals here, these spade terminals. And I just used my DeWalt battery and just hooked up the positive and negative to the positive and negative, and that kicked the pump on. Was able to let it circulate, and so I mean it is now full. It took like 1.5 gallons of coolant. So the system's pretty full. I know I still want to let it run, you know, more, but I need to fix this leak first. So, and it's going on 8:30 though. It's starting to get a little dark. Not horrible, but I'm pretty tired. I've been over here all weekend working on this thing. Plus, I've worked on like 3 or 4 other vehicles this weekend, and I'm just tired. I need to go home and take a shower and get something to eat, and I just want to relax and hang out for a little bit. I never get to just relax and kick it. So that's going to be it for today. I'm probably going to be back over here tomorrow after work, just because I want to keep working on this thing. I've still got to do a few things. I still have to extend that wheel bearing plug for the speed sensor. I still need to wire up the reverse lights. My wires are still just dangling down here. I still need to get the steering hook back up. There's still a few things that need to be done. I still need to do the windshield wiper motor, that whole assembly. But I mean, the car fires up. I've got all the gauges hooked up. I do still need to run a boost line from here, from this T up into the boost gauge. So that's why that last time I started it was running kind of shitty, because I forgot I pulled the elbow off and added that T in there for the boost gauge, just for temporarily until I get that vacuum port thing, vacuum hub. So yeah, but once I get that, then I can redo everything. But for now, I still kind of want everything to work properly. And I still need to run the wire from the AEM gauge up here to the EGR plug. And it needs to go in this middle prong. It's prong C. So I still got to get that. That's the logging part. So it will take the reading from the wideband and send it through the EGR to the computer. And the computer can read it and can kind of learn and adapt. But yeah, I mean, overall, everything's working like it's supposed to. I'm excited. I'm really stoked. So, made lots of progress today. But yeah, like I said, that's going to be it for today, you guys. I'm tired. Alright, you guys. So, I pulled this wheel off, and I got the wheel speed sensor wired up. Where we go? Well, it's right over there. She goes. Yeah, it's all wired up. Everything's good to go there. And then I went ahead and greased that outer tie rod. Got the wheel bolted back on. So now I come around to this side. I've greased this outer tie rod. And now I've just got to wire up the reverse lights. So I got to figure out which one of these is which and which one of these is which, so I can get those shortened and wired up and tucked up, zip tied up out of the way. And then this side should be good to go. And then the only thing that's left is hooking up the steering rack to the steering column linkage. But I'm not really worried about doing that just yet. I know the last time I had this thing put together, it was a pain in the ass trying to get that back apart without fucking shit up. So there's a good possibility I might have to drop this out of here again. So I'm not trying to just super finalize everything just yet with the steering linkage, but everything else can get plugged in and hooked up, and I just want to make sure everything else is working properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these reverse lights wired up and get everything zip tied up out of the way, get this wheel back on, get it off of jack stands. It's sitting on the ground. I'm pretty sure I got everything out from underneath. Yep, so it's just the jack stands. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this done, and then I'll give you guys another update whenever I'm about to set her back on the ground. Alright, you guys, so I've got the reverse lights wired up, and I just kind of zip tied all the harness up out of the way over here, so that way nothing's rubbing on anything or anything like that. So I think now I can go ahead and bolt the wheel back on and go ahead and set this thing on the ground and get her off a jack stand. So I'm gonna keep working on this over here, and I'll give you guys another update here in just a few. Bam, there she is, guys. She's on the ground, sitting low. Oh man, I love it. I love it. So now all the wiring stuff is done. I've already got my new battery bolts in here in both of the positive and negative terminals. So I've had the battery on the charger for probably a good hour since I got here, just to kind of charge it up a little, since the alternator is still not charging the battery for whatever reason. But that's little stuff there, not a humongous deal. Like I said, I've got 4 or 5 other alternators laying around, so it's really not a big deal at all. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this battery charger, hook the battery back up, and let's fire her back up and see if she runs any better sitting on the ground. Gas tank is all nice and level, so don't have to worry about all the gas being at the back of the tank or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna get this battery hooked back up, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I just got the battery all hooked back up. So car's sitting on the ground. And so yesterday I was over here, I got this thing on the ground. I've got the outer tie rods are greased. Like I said, there's still some more stuff that needs to get done to this thing. But what I want to do today is I want to get all this stuff off of the car up here. And I'm going to have to move the toolbox out of the way and get it out here. But I want to pull the car out today and kind of clean it up. I want to put the rear bumper on that's over in the other storage, so I can go ahead and get that swapped out. It's pretty easy to swap out the bumper. So I want to go ahead and get that on so I can kind of test fit it like I did the front bumper and just see how it looks, get some pictures of it, because man, I haven't seen this thing out in the daylight with the engine and everything in there in a few years, and it wasn't this engine. So, and now she actually runs. Man, I'm so stoked. So I need to get some stuff moved out of the way so I can pull this car out of here. I'm probably just going to push it out because, like I said, it's running shitty right now. So I don't want to do any damage to the engine. So that's just kind of one of the things that happens. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this toolbox moved out of the way, get everything out of the way, clear all this stuff off the windshield and the cowl up here, and get this thing pulled out of here, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all, so here we go. Coming out. Look at there, y'all. She is out in the sun. Man, I love this car. Ooh, I fucking love this car. She looks so good. Alright, I'm going to go over to the other storage and grab this rear bumper so I can start working on swapping out this rear bumper, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all, so I just went over to the other storage. I grabbed the hood, I grabbed the windshield wiper mechanism with the cowl cover, and then I also grabbed the rear body kit bumper. So man, this thing just looks so aggressive. I can't wait to see it on the car. But so I'm gonna go ahead and get some tools out of the Trailblazer, get this trunk popped, and start getting this rear bumper off of here, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I just started getting, well, I popped the trunk, and whenever you pull this seal off, it exposes these two little pull tabs. Then you have to pull the tail light out, and there's another pull tab under the tail light, and then these two Phillips screws over here, and then there's also 3 screws over here on the bumper itself, and those are just held on by plastic tabs pretty much, and that's going to be these holes right here. So I need to get all these plastic tabs pulled out, get all these Phillips screws and these Phillips screws on the side here, and then this whole rear bumper should just come right off. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do with my reverse lights. Maybe I can some way like mold these or make a bracket or something to kind of hang them behind here, so that way they're still kind of usable. But we'll figure it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this rear bumper pulled off of here, get all these plastic tabs pulled out and all these Phillips screws out, and I'll give you guys another update once I have the bumper off. Alright, you guys, and just like that, rear bumper is off. So I got the rear bumper sitting over there. I'm going to pull my plate off, and the tag light housing, it bolts in right here. So I'm going to go to swap that stuff around. I don't think I'm going to do anything with the reverse lights just yet. I mean, if anything, like the tail lights do have reverse lights in them right there. So if it comes down to it, I might just not even use those bumper reverse lights. But yeah, so now I get to test fit this thing, but I want to put the tag light and stuff on first, and then we'll go test fit it. So let me get this stuff swapped around. We'll test fit this bumper, see if I'm going to have to trim anything or remove that foam, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I've got the bumper it's on there. I mean, it ain't perfect. It definitely needs some work around these corners and shit. It doesn't line up super great, but I mean, for the most part, it's on there. It's got some cracks in it over here. It's definitely not perfect. I'm gonna have to make some kind of a brace for both sides for these, because they like to flop. I don't want it moving around like this. So I mean, it's definitely gonna need some work, but I mean, hell, it's on there. The color's damn near spot on, just like the front bumper. So I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm gonna go ahead, since the rear bumper is done for now, it's done-ish, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this hood back off and work on this wiper cowl and swapping all this stuff around. So I need to get all this off of here, and the hood's just kind of in the way now. So I'm going to take the hood, put it in the storage for now, get all this stuff swapped around, and then bolt the hood on, see if the hood closes all the way, see if I need to do with spacers or anything. And yeah, I'm going to try to get quite a bit of stuff done today, and then hopefully I'm going to be able to wash her today too, because she's looking super dirty. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. There we go. Let's get a better look. Had to push the car out. I really want to see this thing in the daylight. And overall, front bumper fits a hell of a lot better than the rear bumper. But it's all good. She's coming along. She's getting there. So I'm gonna keep working on this. Go ahead and pop this hood off, toss her back in there, and get this cowl wipers and stuff swapped around, and I'll give you guys another update. Damn, you guys, I just cannot get enough of this car. So I took the hood off and put it in there, and but I ended up having Ray help me come put it on all the way on the hinges, because I wanted to test fit it to see if it was going to close all the way, but it's hitting something up here, so I'm probably going to have to put a few washers in there to space it up a little bit. But it's all good, not a humongous deal, but man, I'm so excited. This thing just looks so good. I cannot get enough of it. But so yeah, so Ray helped me get the hood back on. I can still get everything off with the hood on. It's just pulling all these little plastic clips. So not a humongous deal. I'm still going to be able to get to it. So I'm probably going to finish cleaning out the storage. Just how I've been sweeping it out and trying to clean it up in here, because there was so much shit under the car. And I mean, it's been in here for a while, so it's just been accumulating leaves and dirt and just shit. I need to take this bumper back over to the other storage along with the foam piece that goes with it. And I'm just going to keep the front and rear bumpers as backups, I guess. I've tried selling and giving away the front bumper for like the last 6 months, and nobody's wanted it for free or even wanted to buy it. So I guess I'm just going to keep them as backups, and if I decide I don't want to run the body kit no more or whatever, then I can always just put the stock bumpers back on. But I'm going to finish getting all this stuff cleaned up, kind of organize some stuff, and then I'll probably push the car back in here since I have the rear bumper on now. And that way I don't have so much shit out in the open for everyone to drive by and see and eyeball what I got. So yeah, I'm going to take this stuff back over to the other storage and clean up a little bit more, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all, so that was a pain in the ass, but I got her back in here. I had to roll it forwards and backwards like 20 times to get the back wheels up over this hump. And then I couldn't get the front wheels up over it, so I had to jack it up, put some blocks under the tires, and then use these as stoppers on the front side, so when I let it down, it kind of pushed it backwards. And I was able to get it back in here. So, don't have a shit ton of room in here. So I was really wanting to get a bunch of this stuff cleaned up and kind of organized, but it is what it is. It's getting hot today, so I'm back in the shade. So now I'm going to start working on pulling this cowl piece off and getting these old wiper motors and shit out and get everything swapped out with the new stuff off the parts Grand Am. So that's what I'm going to start doing right now, is get this all taken apart, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I've been working on the Grand Am, got it back in the air on jack stands. Checked the oil, it was smelling real gassy, so I drained the oil. It was real bad, so I drained the drain pan into the bucket, and so there's no oil in the engine right now. So definitely need to get it tuned like ASAP, so we're not having any issues with spinning any bearings or anything. So I worked on the intercooler system. I hooked up these two wires of my power and ground, and I hooked them up to a DeWalt battery and just let it run, and topped it off and topped it off and topped it off. And it looks like it settled down again. But I tightened up all my hose clamps, so nothing was leaking. I've got the pump mounted up underneath right here. So I had to tighten both of these lines here, and then I also had to tighten this inner one down there on the fill neck because it was dripping a little bit. But other than that, nothing is leaking. from the intercooler system. So now it's just trying to get all the air out of the system and get just coolant in there. And I mean, this is a completely different pump, different front mount heat exchanger. It's the exact same core, but this is a different one. But yeah, so I mean, this is just a little bit different car. It's a lot more tight fit than in the Grand Prix. So I'm probably going to end up having to cut some holes out or something to run my lines down. Just so I'm not trying to snake everything around and it kind of squishes the hoses a little bit. I need to pull this alternator off and swap it with a different one to see if that fixes my charging issue or not. But I mean, other than that, everything's going okay. While I had the oil drained, I changed out this sensor, and on the old one, the end of it was broke off. So I don't know if it was hitting the oil pickup tube or what, but it broke off. So I'm gonna end up having to drop the oil pan. So that's kind of shitty. But I was just trying to fix my leak from that oil level sensor. That original one I put in was leaking, and now I know why it was broke. So I don't know how it broke being in the engine, but it did. So, but I got that swapped around. I got the intercooler system full. I'm sure there's probably a little bit of air in there. It's probably going to need a little more coolant. So I still need to swap out all of this, the wiper arm assembly, and pull this cowl. So I might end up doing that, but I don't know. Now I've got to get more oil before I can even start the car again. So I'm not going to know about the alternator until after Thursday when I get paid, so I can get some more oil and get her filled up. So yeah, I guess next I'll probably go ahead and start pulling this cowl off and pull these wiper arms. And then earlier I was over here and I noticed that this line that goes up to the wipers has a nice big hole in it right there. So definitely going to have to end up swapping this whole line. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Shit happens. So I'm going to go ahead and work on pulling this off. And then once I get this cowl piece, I'm going to have to remove both of the wiper arms before I can pull the cowl off. And once I get this cowl piece off, then I'll give you guys another update of the wiper motor assembly. Alright you guys, so the cowl piece is off. I've got it sitting over here. So under here you've got 3 tins. You have one right here, one over here, and one right here. So you remove your 3 tins, get these all out. This is super easy. Okay, I've already broke them free with the ratchet. Alright, so you get these 3 bolts out. And once you get these 3 bolts out, and this whole piece just flips right around. Super easy to remove. Okay, you just pull this out, flip it over, and once you get it flipped over, you press down on the tab there and pull the clip out. And it's that easy. So this is the new one. This is my old one. And as you can tell, somebody's tried to ghetto rig it back together with these washers. So it's got a bunch of play. And that's why my wipers weren't working properly. They had a bunch of play in it. So now I'm going to hook this one back up. But yeah, this thing is super simple. And then whenever you put it back in, you have to kind of put this side, the arm, down under first. Set it on top over there, and it just sits right in place. Put your 3 tins back in, get them tightened down, and that's it. So I'm going to get this put back in, and I'll give you another update. Alright you guys, so I've got the whole cowl back together. It was kind of a pain because you have to You have to start on this side. You have to pull this rubber seal off completely. And then you've got to just take these lines and kind of just bend them out of the way. And you've got to kind of go in at an angle, starting from this side to get the hole over this motor piece. And start going under this trim. Because this trim isn't removable. It's like glued to the windshield. So, yeah, you got to just kind of lift up. And as you're going down, you have to kind of just run your finger along that trim. Pop it up on top of the cow piece. Then get it to go over that hole. And then once you get that hole in, then it just kind of pops in. It's not really as much in the way over there. There's nothing there, so it can actually go down. And then, but yeah, once I got it into place, like I got it in over here, I put my clips in, worked my way towards the middle, put my clip in there, and then went to the other side, and it just kind of popped in place. And I put my other 2 clips in, popped the rubber gasket back on, and then I went ahead and bolted the wiper arms back on. And I know this one's not in the best condition, like paint-wise, but both of these were brighter of a black than the other 2. They were super faded, and the blades on them were trash. So eventually I'll probably pop these back off. They're just pop this little cap off, and it's a 13mm nut. Ooh. Yeah, 13mm nut, just a little cap, pops off. And I could always pop that arm off, spray paint them black, put the blades back on and bolt it back on. So that'll be an easy touch up later on. I don't have any paint right now, so can't do it now. But I've already got it all back together. I tested them. It works. Also, my line down here where it was broke, it was completely broken half down below that. And so once I would fill up the washer fluid so far, it would just start leaking. It wouldn't fill all the way up, or else it would leak. And what it was doing, it was pushing fluid up the line and to where it was broke. And that's why it was leaking. But I've replaced this whole line. Everything's hooked up. Everything works. They don't go all the way down. So now they shouldn't be hitting the hood. Whenever I try to open and close the hood, they should sit up a little bit like they do. So I'm really happy about that. I'm glad everything's working. So that was just one thing checked off the list. And then I pulled these fog lights off of the Camaro, and the plugs just plug right in. Both the lights work. So I took some, they had some gray overspray on them. So I took some rubbing compound over there with a rag and just kind of went over them, and it took the paint off. They're still kind of, they look like it's chipped up or something, but I mean, they come off of like a 2000 Camaro, so can't be super picky. I tried to put the LED bulbs in there, but they do not fit the way that these are designed. So can't use the LEDs, but these stock bulbs, they work. So I'm going to try to, I don't know, I'm either going to try to figure out a way to get these bolted up in there to where they come out right here in these holes, so I can still use my fog lights, because I do have fog lights. So I don't know if I want to put them in that little vent. It looks like it would fit perfectly right up behind there. Here, let's see if I can reach it up in there. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Something like that. So, if I don't break the damn thing. Alright, looks good. But, yeah, maybe I can get those mocked up in there, build some brackets or something, figure out a way to mount them. But I think that would be pretty cool. And then I still have to build, like, make some brackets and braces that will help hold this up on both sides. Because, like, the whole thing's just kind of loosely on there. And then I'm probably going to end up making, like, an under tray that will kind of bolt up to all this and bolt to the front of the subframe and just kind of help keep it solid. So there's still a ways to go. And then I still need to get this clutch bled. I don't know, I've seen a few different videos. So one video that I watched, it was actually on like a YouTube short or a Facebook reel. But this guy, he was doing brakes and he was by himself. And what he did was he just took a a bottle like 3/4 of the way full of brake fluid, put a long hose in it, put the other end of the hose on the bleeder, cracked the bleeder open, and then just pressed the pedal. And what happens was when he pressed the pedal, a bunch of bubbles come out, and then when he let the pedal up, it sucked in brake fluid instead of sucking back in air. And he only had to pump the pedal like 3 times or so, and then there was no air. It was all just fluid. And then he just went and tightened up the bleeder and popped it off the line. The remainder of the fluid drains back down in the bottle through the hose. And yeah, I mean, it looked really simple. So I'm going to try doing that. I have like a huge big bottle of brake fluid in here and a little bottle. And I topped off the Camaro, or the Firebird, the other day for Tommy because he just got out of jail. And so I didn't record any of that, but yeah, we did change both of the front tires and both of the outer tie rods, and did brakes, and then we swapped 3 of the doors around from the blue Impala to his sister's, the 3/8 swapped Impala. And because the windows kept falling down and they didn't go up and down, so we swapped the doors, and now all 4 windows go up and down, and none of them just fall down in the door. So now she don't have to worry about the windows falling down and the windows not working, and because it doesn't have AC. So, but I mean, other than that, it's still leaking power steering fluid for some reason. They were saying transmission fluid because I had transmission fluid in the power steering. So that's why she was saying it was leaking transmission fluid and the power steering was going out. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't add any fluid. The car still runs and drives and moves. It does whine a little bit when you turn the wheel, but I'm really not worried about it. It's better than no car at all. So, but yeah, so I used some of that little bottle the other day. This is still full. But man, I mean, I should have a piece of hose somewhere I can stick on there. And then I just need like a 20-ounce bottle, water bottle or something. Or hell, even that, shit, I could even just put it right directly in the big bottle of brake fluid. That would work. And then it would just suck up brake fluid in there every time I depress the pedal or let up the pedal. But yeah, so I think I'm going to start working on trying to get this clutch bled, because I would love to be able to activate the freaking clutch. I fought this for like 2 or 3 days straight whenever I first started messing with this. And I was really hoping to get that done before I put the battery and everything in, but I wanted to hear it run. And I just got tired of fighting it. But I'm going to try to get this clutch bled. So y'all stay tuned. I'm going to get some supplies, and I'll give y'all another update. Alright, you guys, so I got my little setup here. So I've got my bleeder is right there. I've got a soft hose on it, running down into the hard line that came off the old wiper blade assembly. And I just ran it straight down into a full bottle of brake fluid. And then this bleeder valve is a 9mm. So I just got to get down here, break that bleeder valve open. Alright. And make sure your reservoir is full. I'm just going to get in here and double check our fluid. So it looks pretty good. There we go. Got to top it off again. Alright, we'll keep going. I don't know. I can't really tell if it's working or not. It's definitely sucking fluid down. I don't see it leaking anywhere. Oh, it looks like my bottle's overflowing though. Alright, give me a second, y'all. Alright, you guys. Well, I've been doing this for a while. I started to get a little bit of a pedal. It's not really sucking up anything from the bottle. It's more just draining. So I'm pumping the pedal and just, yeah, letting it pretty much drain into this. It's not really sucking up any brake fluid. And it was just overflowing my bottle down there. So I took that bottle, dumped at least half of it into this bigger bottle, and I've been using it to add and pumping it by hand. I mean, like I said, it started to work, but now it's to the point to where when I'm in here, you can hear it. Hold on. I don't know if y'all heard that, but it's like, so yeah, I don't know what the hell the deal is with it. Oh no, it's up there. But yeah, I don't know what the hell the deal is with it. But I've got to figure something out because I'm really wanting to get this thing together and get the clutch bled. I just want to see it go in gear. Like I said, I can't drive it. And now that the oil's all drained out, I can't even start it now. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night for tonight just because it's about 20 minutes until my storage closes and I don't want to be here and get rode up and all that shit. So I guess I'm going to start picking up all my stuff. And that's probably going to be it for this video. So I know it's probably already going to be a pretty long video. So if you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment down in the comments below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.